Okay. Please save. I'm reservoir in 10.
Go to the gun now. Go to the gun now. Press it.
Press the gun. Oh my god, let's go!
That right there is a sound of desperation and regret, as me and my friends wasted over 3 weeks trying to complete all the modes in Legendary, just so we could get the Nullifier title to flex on people in quick play. Here is a walkthrough guide so you do not have to waste just as much time as we did. First up, Resistance Rio. Lucio's club is pretty straightforward. Take your time to play around cover and not get flanked by the bots. Feel free to use this phase to actually take some additional damage to charge your town barrier quicker. Entry to the streets can get hot real quick. Ensure to shoot early to push your team to the left side for cover, and even use the Mei wall so you do not take any heavy fire from the bots right on top. At point A, ensure as Lucio that you push up early to take the free boobs on the bots near the ledge. Then, take your time to push this trade without wasting any ultimates if you can, using your shields and your Mei wall as cover as well. At this point, you need to ensure that your sound barrier or your duplication is close to ready for the next phase. At the beach, start by clearing the right side first so your Reinhardt can start playing around natural cover. Feel free to start using ultimates. Sound barrier and duplication is very useful to keep your team alive throughout the beach phase. There is also a cheeky little spot here where if too many of your teammates go down, simply just have the last player pull back as far as they can through the bridge and have everyone crawl back to get a free res. The priority for this phase is the elite jump jets first, followed by the null troopers before you start taking on the artillery unit. In the hangar bay, utilize the 2 barriers near the ship for cover. Take this time to clear as many squishes first and push only once your team has recovered all your cooldowns. At the ship lobby, it lies entirely on your Reinhardt. The easiest way to survive the artillery is for your Reinhardt to pin them off the side of the ship twice. 2 artillery units will spawn in this wave, so you either pair your Reinhardt with an ultimate like Sound Barrier, Blizzard, or even Earth Shatter on the artillery itself, so that you give the best chance for your Reinhardt to line up the pin of the map. Before that, try not to waste all your ultimates, try to have at least Sound Barrier up or duplicate available before the next stage. And lastly, just don't get flanked from the squishes and you should be good to go for this. Finally is the charger room itself. The group's priority is always to clear the squishes first and dodge the charger's attack as much as you can. Mei wall is especially useful to block the charger lane as well as oncoming fire. And as long as no one is within melee range, the charger should not be able to swing. Healing will be pretty scarce for this state, so try your best not to be outside of the song range as much as possible, and not to get picked off early. Hold back Sound Barrier only for the rest when it's absolutely necessary, as the Rhine Shield alone is usually not enough to pull a safe rest. All in all, Rio should be pretty simple for the most part, as long as the team has good fundamentals and playing around natural cover. Next we have Toronto's Liberation. The dogs are all about slicer management. Your Lucio and your Rhine plays the most crucial roles in the dog stage. The bridge is conveniently funneling all the slicers on it, allowing for easy and effective boobs to clear large wave of slicers when time right. Lucio is also particularly useful for marking the slicers wave coming from the right. For Reinhardt, you want to be playing at the slicer spawn spots near the top left stud, weakening them as they path towards the ship itself. More importantly, the Reinhardt doesn't have to play with the team core of Sojourn, Echo and Lucio, and only retreat backs when heals are needed. For the rest of the core, the safest spot from fire is the right side of the map, allowing you to play for the mini health pack as well as being able to retreat back all the way to the spawn for recovery. Just make sure all the slicers are down before running away from the fight. Lucio also charges his beat extremely fast in this stage, so don't be afraid to use your ultimate. Copy is also another ultimate extremely valuable both on Reinhardt and on Lucio. The next challenge comes in the form of the artillery spawns. There are 3 spawnable spots for the artillery, and again will be depending on the Reinhardt to line up pins to bring them off the map from the right side of the dogs. If you have it, commit the Earth Shatter here so that you can have an easier time lining up the pin on the artillery itself. At the courtyard, the main tip is to never play in the melee range of the stalkers, as it is able to one-shot you for any hero. CCs are the most effective way for you to save teammates pulled by stalkers, so for this, you will need to depend on your Lucio boobs or your Rhine pins. Apart from that, just use this stage to charge up your ultimates, getting ready for the next stage. Entering the station entrance, you want to approach the artillery itself from the right top bridge, as it gives you the most cover along the way towards it. Before making your way up there, ensure that all the null troopers are cleared first. For the artillery itself, beats are crucial to rush it down. Cycle beats between your Lucio and your Echo copy for the engagement. When one beats, the other should be amping heals for maximum ult charge, getting ready for the second artillery spawn. As the second one spawn, just rinse and repeat the same steps and it should be pretty easy to clear it down. In the tunnel stage, your main target is always the subjugators first. Play near the stairways on top of Claire for cover. Reinhardt and Lucio need to ensure that all the subjugators are constantly booked away at all times to buy your team the best chance. In cases where you need to choose between booping a stalker or a subjugator, always focus the subjugator first and use the beat to resurrect teammates afterwards. For the elite Null Troopers, Sojourn finally gets the time to shine. Ensure that you got go time to quickly focus the elite Null Trooper down for this stage. At the station exit, you need to split your Reinhardt and Lucio to protect one Omnic each, since these two are the only ones able to interact with the subjugators itself. To buy the most amount of time, you want to boot the subjugators to the lower floor if possible. On this stage, you can also abuse the geometry on this map to stall the pull from stalkers itself. Remember, you want to ensure that subjugators are handled first before dealing with the stalker. The biggest challenge from the streets phase is rushing down the artillery at the end of the corridor. Use the pockets in between buildings to take cover, but at the same time, ensure that you keep an eye on Claire and Reggie from being ambushed from subjugators. Once you have beat available, you can use it to rush down the artillery itself. Similar to streets, recover cooldown and charge beat to rush the artillery at the end of the bend. And I can't emphasize this enough, ensure that you keep the subjugators away from Reggie and Claire as far as possible. You can take your time to slowly clear the bots along the way until you reach the extraction zone itself. In fact, for our run, we actually cleared this section even when one of our teammates disconnects, so it just requires a little bit of patience. And finally, once you see Reggie and Claire making their way towards the ship, just use every ultimate to rush into the ship to clear the level. For Toronto, the hardest part of this level is definitely to clear the dock stage at the start. After that, as long as each player know what their roles are for the remaining part of the maps, it should be pretty alright to clear it down. Lastly, we have Gothenburg Ironclad. First up, don't rush the entrance. This should be pretty easy to clear as long as you utilize the cover inside of the workshop itself instead of going out early. The explosive barrels are all conveniently located at the spawn zones of the Null Troopers, so just trigger them when there is a large group of them spawning to clear the run faster. Moving on to the straights, cycle the Rhine Shield for your DPS to put pressure on the artillery unit itself. Don't focus on the Null Troopers walking up yet, as you need this for Brick to constantly proc Inspire to heal up poke from the missile barrage. After clearing the artillery, ensure to time the Molten Core to hit the elite Null Trooper as it spawns near the fountain, before the wave spawns at the docks. Same as always, you need to rely on your Rhine to pin the artillery off the map early to survive this wave. You want your Reinhardt to position near the artillery beforehand, whereas the two DPS to play back to melt the Vulture bot early. The Brick in return should be positioned in between the two, as she is needed to bring your Rhine back to the team after he lands the pin. Arriving at Statue, after parking the payload at the first checkpoint, you need to take the platform on top, as this gives your team the full sidelines around the statue and a safe room in an event of a flank. One neat trick is to actually have your Bastion play at the bakery facing the statue to take aggro of the Vulture away from your team, and then you can collapse on the Vulture together when it traps itself going inside the room. During the first artillery spawn, as always, you want to get your Rhine in position to push it into the water with charge itself. You can pair your Rhine with a rally and even use the initial whip shot to position the artillery better. The second artillery spawns on the high ground, so it's really hard for you to set up a pin here. So instead, you can use the Molten Core to set up an early trap for the artillery when it spawns. You're back in the workshop. For the front wave, position both freeze turrets just behind the entrance itself, as this covers the turret from oncoming fire, as well as prepare a slow zone near the entrance for the Rhine and Brick to cleave. And same like always, your Rhine needs to be in position to pin the artillery off the map as soon as it spawns. For the right wave, you want to play on the middle section both for cover and the angles to boop enemies into the side pits. Position one knockback turret on the far left so you don't have to focus that lane down when a breacher passes through. The remaining turrets can be placed near the team itself to provide both extra firepower and makes it a lot easier for Torbjorn to repair them during the wave. Brigitte is extremely crucial for knocking back both the breachers in the middle lane as well as saving teammates from Stalker's grip. It is also worth noting that both Whip Shot and the Shield Bash can break the Stalker's grip itself. All Brick has to do is to bait other teammates to be gripped so that Brick will have the time needed for the save. The third wave turret setup is a little bit more flexible. The important ones are the knockback into the lava canal and one freeze turret near the back together with Torbjorn to handle the slicer wave. The first artillery will always spawn in the middle platform early. Ensure that your Rhine is there to pin, as Brick Boop will not do enough knockback on legendary mode. The next artillery spawn is between the left and the right side, which means you require a lot of reactivity from your Rhine to set up for the pin. And lastly, the final artillery will spawn at the last spawn point available. The core's job is mainly to handle the slicers and stall the stalkers as long as possible. Slicers are a higher priority, so ensure that they are handled first before pushing the stalkers, as Brick should be able to easily peel the stalkers away in the meantime. The back room is also especially useful for recovering down allies. Ensure that all the slicers are handled first before pulling back for the rest if you need to. As far as possible, you want want to have all 4 ultimates charged over here before proceeding to the final wave. For the final wave itself, have all the turrets around the mega cannon as they are vital in buying time against the slicers and breaches. First artillery will always spawn from the front, so you just need to rinse and repeat this step as Reinhardt. Here on, the spawns are more or less random, so move fast once the artillery beacon is spotted. The priority for enemy management goes as follows: the artillery first for the Reinhardt, followed by the slicers, breaches, elite null troopers, and finally the stalker itself. The Brig's job is to mark the stalkers as long as possible, as you don't want to focus the stalker just yet. The DPS then need to focus down the elite null trooper as they spawn in from the right side. Brig is also useful for marking the breaches from the right, as there is a lava pool located near the mega turret. First important tip is, for the final wave, you don't actually need to clear all the enemies, you just need to stall until the mega turret is active and then press the button to end the round. All things considered, I think Gothenburg is probably the hardest of the 3. Most runs should be able to make it to the last wave, and that's where most people fail, so it requires a lot of time to restart and redo it. But it's probably gonna be worth it if you're really grinding up for the title. Shameless plug time. This Friday I'm gonna get 10 people who has never played Overwatch before, and I'm going to make them go against one top 500 contenders player. Everything will be live streamed here on YouTube. If you need more information, join my Discord below.